So thank you, judges, for joining us tonight for the OACETT NEM College Student Challenge briefing for everyone that's going to be helping out as judges during the month of March. My name is Erica, and I am presenting this information on behalf of OACETT and also on behalf of the National Engineering Month Steering Committee, which includes a number of partner organizations that are coming together with the shared goal of inspiring the next generation of engineers and engineering technologists. So hope you're enjoying yourselves so far during National Engineering Month. It's a very busy time for us, but a lot of fun as well. So I want to give you a bit of an introduction to the challenge. As most of you know, this was a new initiative, something we tried as a bit of an experiment last year during National Engineering Month 2014, and it was a pretty good success, so we want to try it again this year. Take you through some of the goals and how we did against those, talk a little bit about the role that you'll be performing personally as a judge, show you all of the events, and I can show you last year's and this year's so you have a sense of what's going on there, and then prompt you on next steps and give you a chance to answer any questions. Ask any questions and I will answer them rather. So just to give you an idea about National Engineering Month, it is, as I mentioned, a joint effort between several organizations, including Professional Engineers Ontario and the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technicians and Technologists. And we feel that this collaboration is so important because it allows us to speak with one voice, such that people who are outside of our circle, the general public, certainly young people, can understand what we're saying. We've come forward with a really strong and cohesive message that lets them understand what we're doing and what we're all about. So to that end, last year during National Engineering Month 2014, we put on a total of 187 outreach events across Ontario just in the month of March. And that was up from about the 140 level, which is where we'd been hovering for the 2013 and 2012 campaigns. So that was clearly a big step up in 2014, which we were really happy with. And then in 2015, we're going to have another big step up again. We'll be well above 250. We're still calculating the exact numbers as plans shift around closer to the date. But we're very, very happy with the growth of the reach that we've been able to get to. We feel that in-person engagement is so important to let people tell their stories and make that personal connection, get to know the faces behind the things that we take for granted every day. So we reached in person 27,000 people, and that's every demographic, right from kids all the way up to adults. And you can see by our breakdown there, we really feel that kids are a very important age group to target. So we tend to sort of focus there, especially the grades 1 to 8, where they're still young and excited and impressionable, and we're able to sort of give them a bit of coaching and a bit of encouragement toward potentially pursuing an engineering or engineering technology career. In addition to the in-person events that we do, we also have a pretty extensive online reach. You can see it was 429,000, so that's through things like social media and our website, and then we also do the traditional print thing as well. I'm not sure if anyone saw the Toronto Star on Saturday, but that had a big engineering innovations supplement in it, and that reaches over 1 million people. So we're really influencing people, and all those numbers are up. We're really excited about that, and it's really at the core of it are these volunteers who run the events. So we saw an opportunity to help OACETT really boost their engagement and to get involved with the colleges and reach out to the colleges in a way that we hadn't been able to engage them before. Lots of universities run events, EngSocs, Engineers Without Borders chapters within the university system, but we weren't seeing the same amount of engagement, and we thought there's no reason that college students, engineering technology students, shouldn't also be stepping forward and telling their story and be inspiring youth as well and talking about what they do and what their path is. So we decided to incent college students. We said, hey, come forward, organize a National Engineering Month event. The only thing we'll say is that you have to team up with your local OACETT chapter, because we wanted to create that engagement between the OACETT chapters and the students. Enter a team of up to 5 students. If you win, we'll give you a cash prize. So there was a process by which the students needed to register, and then they had to put together an event plan, put in a funding application, and basically this is all the fine print. If you want to look at it, you're very welcome to. I'm going to send you a copy of these slides later that you can look over on your own time. College Challenges is where all of this information sits right now. And as I said, our goal was to increase OACETT's participation. One of our goals was to increase OACETT's participation in NEM Ontario. So remember I was saying 2012, 2013, we were sort of stuck around the same level, the same size of campaign we were getting year after year. Boom, we added 2014 came along, we added the OACETT College Challenge, and all of a sudden we had double the number of events being run by OACETT. So the red bar represents events being run by OACETT chapters, any of the 26 chapters across Ontario. Add in the college students, and they were pretty much able to double our engagement. So we jumped from 10 to 23 events last year. And this year, although we're, as I said, yet to finalize the numbers, it looks like it's going to jump even higher. So we've got more OACETT chapters organizing events, and then we've also got more college students coming on board to organize more events as well. So this has really been a home run for us from this perspective. Another thing we wanted to do was to increase OACETT's network within the colleges. So when you think about the types of students who step up for roles within their organizations at schools, such as IEEE, NSOC, Fire Protection Association, Women in Technology, those are really going to be your leaders within the profession within a couple of years or maybe a decade or so. So it makes sense for OACETT to be engaging with those people. And we saw, sure enough, when we put the call out to students and said, hey, come and get it, here's a prize, all you have to do is organize an event and connect with your local OACETT chapter, we had these groups stepping up to organize events. It was really fantastic to see. We know that OACETT, as they can engage within colleges, as they can make those personal connections, they have the opportunity to influence young people and give them a bit of a role model, give them some insight into what working in the profession is like, maybe even give them some advice. Obviously, we can't guarantee anything, but sometimes it's, starting to network as you're a student is really valuable in terms of understanding where you want to go next in your career. And we do encourage the students to recognize that as well, that it's not just all about the prize money. That's kind of an immediate and sort of nice incentive. But at the end of it, they're really getting something out of the investment. And OACETT is getting something out of the investment as well in the form of these relationships with these strong student leaders that are stepping up to contribute to the profession even before they've graduated. So we have OACETT volunteers within the chapters. I believe they're called college liaisons, although we also have a number of different chapter members stepping forward to work with the teams, mentoring them, help them plan their event, help them sort of refine their the message that they want to put out, what activities are they going to do. I've seen OACETT members also offer to come and help volunteer, maybe putting on a booth at the event, that type of thing. So really helping the students along. And then there's another piece of the engagement that comes from within OACETT, and we've been lucky enough to get some support from PEO members as well, which is to volunteer as judges, so to evaluate the execution of the event. And a lot of students haven't done this before, so their first attempt at an event isn't sort of professional caliber, but the fact that we're engaging them and we're getting them to think about these questions, and they're getting a chance to practice their project management skills, their planning, their teamwork, their public speaking skills. In a lot of cases, they're reaching out to the public. We think that there's just such a valuable experience all around for people. So that last piece there, the judges, that's where you all fit in. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the role of the judge at this point. So there are sort of two things we're looking for, and you're going to be our eyes and ears on the ground. Our NEM team is quite small, and it's a good problem to have. We've got lots and lots of college students organizing lots of events. We can't send someone to be everywhere in the province, so we're really, really thankful that you've answered the call and that you will be our eyes and ears on the ground. You'll be there to encourage the students, to give them, give them credit for doing everything that they're doing and putting in the efforts that they are. So the main thing we want to look at is what was their event plan and how did they execute against it? Pretty self-explanatory, kind of a did you do what you said you were going to do sort of thing. And how aligned are they with the goals of National Engineering Month as a whole? So if you're not too familiar with the campaign, I'll give you a little bit of that sense and the way that we would like you to assess that for us and bring that feedback to us. So just to note, even though some of these talks will be technical in nature, this is not a technical judging role per se. You're very welcome to bring that to the forefront, to bring that lens to the comments and the conversations that you have with the students. We encourage you to get involved. But that's not as much the part that we are interested in testing and in strengthening. We really feel that the National Engineering Month campaign is a time to turn outward and face the public, face youth, and it's a time to adopt a bit of a different approach than we might when we're talking amongst ourselves as engineering and engineering technology professionals. It's probably a time to simplify things It's a time to use examples that people can really relate to, even if they don't have that technical background. And your expertise, whatever role you bring, whatever industry or whatever discipline you come from, will be valuable to the students. And the things that we're going to be asking you to report back to us on really do relate to that sort of communications and messaging and event organization side. So that's just a bit of a clarification on what we're especially interested in. So the judge's report is something that you will fill out and give back to us, please and thank you. And just so you know, there are 3 pieces of criteria that we are going to be evaluating as a NEM team in order to rank the winners, in order to rank all of the teams. Because this is a competition after all. We have to pick a winner. It was really tough to do last year, but we did manage. So there are 3 things that we consider. There's the judge's report. There's the stuff that they give to us, which includes an event scorecard, which you might be familiar with if you've organized a National Engineering Month event yourself. It's a self-scoring tool that helps you see how you did on your budget, on your attendance, on your messaging plan, how you ranked on media, were you able to tell the story to a wider audience outside your event, did you promote the National Engineering Month campaign? So there are some things that they're required to submit to us. That's the student's responsibility to send to us, and that includes evidence of their post-event engagement. So we look at all 3 things, not just your report, just to give you a little bit of perspective there. That said, the judge's report is a very important piece of input. We really appreciate you taking the time to fill it out for us. We are going to send you a special copy of the judge's report that will be just for you. It will have these top sections filled out for you. So we'll put in the date, the event name, your name, and the intended messaging. So they have already specified which messages they are trying to convey to their participants at their event. And I will show you in a moment the sort of menu of messages that they had to choose from. And those were messages that we chose to say, look, these are the things, these are the takeaways that we really want people to get out of their event. So you're going to know what that message is. You will know that going in, and then you'll attend, you'll participate in the event, and you'll have the opportunity to give them a rank from 0 to 5. How well did they deliver this message? And we'll ask you for some comments as well. The comments are very helpful, as I'll show you later. So as far as the messages, this is really the core of what we're doing as far as the National Engineering Month Ontario campaign. We know we're all competent professionals. We're good at our jobs. The students are going to grow up and, they're going to study everything they need to know. We don't really need to use this as an opportunity to dive deeper into the technical details of what we do. What we want to do is change the public perception. We want to break any stereotypes that people might have, or fill in the blanks if they have no idea what we do, and enhance the profile, help them see just how interesting and how important and how sort of omnipresent everything that we do is. So we have this strategy of using these messages, and I'm going to take you through them very quickly because probably most of you have seen them already at least once. So we say, within the 21st century, we really do need a diversity of thinkers because there's a very diverse set of challenges going on out there. Everything from how to secure cyberspace to how to make renewable energy affordable to what to do in the event of a medical emergency. I mean, there are all sorts of different things that people are trying to figure out how to do. Clean water for people. There's just a ton of different technical challenges out there that engineers and engineering technologists are working on solving. And we know that in order to solve those problems, we want to have a diversity of thinkers coming in. So this could refer to diversity of thinking style, diversity of cultural background, diversity of gender is obviously a very popular topic as well. But the main point is that we want to be very inclusive when we're talking to people outside of the profession, so youth or even the general public, to say, there's a place for you in engineering and technology. You are invited. This is the opposite of that sort of elite message that people might be getting if they find engineering and technology very confusing and intimidating. We really want to work against that. So diversity of thinkers, there is a place for you. Those are sort of the 2 key points on that first messaging element there. The second possible messaging element that they might have chosen off of the menu is engineering and technology shape the world around us, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That's a pretty obvious one for us, but maybe, other people in our audiences might not have thought of that before. And the way that we lived 50 years ago is completely different to the way we live right now. It's pretty unthinkable. All of the advances, that have happened in our world, and they've largely been driven by these innovations, by these people with a technical skill set. It's pretty exciting when you think about how influential engineering and technology have been. And we look at how that's going to carry forward, what's going to be the next big thing that changes our lives. The way the internet has completely changed everything now, we don't know, but these are the types of things that, it's going to be engineers and engineering technologists that figure that out in the future. So we think that's pretty exciting, and that's a cool message to get across to people. Third potential target message that the students may be trying to incorporate into their event is creativity and imagination, turning ideas into reality. And that's a cool one because it really pushes against this idea that what we do is dry and technical and boring, which I know some people might think. Obviously, we know that's not true. This idea that at the end of the day, it's not just about analysis or calculation or optimization or problem solving even. It's also about having vision and bringing something into the realm of possibility that used to be impossible and thinking outside the box in a way that nobody ever had before. So that's pretty inspiring and exciting as well, a good one to get across. And the fourth potential message that the students might be working to deliver to their audience through their event is this one about safety, health, and happiness. So this is a pretty long one at the end here. It's got kind of 3 different pieces to it. So health, safety, and happiness, I know, when I was working as a manufacturing engineer, preventing injuries was huge, in our workplace. We always looked to do that and really saw it as our responsibility to take care of people and keep them safe while they're at work. People working for people, so again, sort of pushing back against that stereotype that what we do is sort of removed or irrelevant from society or from people, that we really are a people profession, working together as a team, and then also working to serve and take care of, the people around us through the systems and products that we create. Engineers and technologists make a world of difference. So speaking of make a world of difference, that is actually the theme of the entire National Engineering Month campaign. And making a world of difference can mean a lot of different things. It's a very sort of open statement, and the students have been asked explicitly to make sure that they're addressing that theme in their event. So your second question, the second criteria that we're asking you to incorporate on and report back to us on in your judges report is how well did they incorporate the theme make a world of difference in the event. If you didn't see it at all, we want to give them sort of a mark over here on the left-hand side. If you felt that it was very well expressed and well integrated, it might not be just a question of using the words, but providing examples and really, sort of trying to get that point across about the way that engineers and engineering technologists really do have real-world impact. And again, any comments that you have on that are helpful as well. And here we go, make a world of difference. That's the theme for the entire National Engineering Month campaign. So not just here in Ontario, but all across Canada. It's pretty neat. And just a quick note here, if you happen to be on social media, Twitter, Facebook, etc., hashtag NEM2015 is where you'll find a lot of great information about the events that are going on. You'll find some articles along these themes. Lots of good stuff there. So if you happen to be online, maybe drop by and see what's going on there. So the third and final element, there's just 3 parts to the judges report that we would like you to report back to us on, is engagement. And this isn't one you can necessarily measure objectively, but when it happens, when the participants in the room are nodding, they're asking lots of questions, they're getting excited, they're interacting with the organizers, they're participating, maybe they're building something or they're doing whatever they're supposed to be doing for the event to be really successful. So did the organizers succeed in engaging participants? If they weren't, if people were sort of nodding off to sleep or eyes were glazing over, that kind of thing, you want to give them a lower mark, but if they had really great engagement, that's something we want to reward as well. And again, any comments. So some tips, and the students have been given this sheet of, how do they create great participant engagement? We think having lots of volunteers on hand, so a small volunteer to participant ratio is great, especially if people need a hand with an activity, or you can engage them in smaller group discussions as well. lots of questions and answers flying back and forth. That's great. Going both ways, right? That's the organizers asking the audience questions and the audience asking the organizers questions. We love both. Using age-appropriate and audience-appropriate language. So we want to make sure that we're being respectful of what people will understand and keeping them in their comfort zone, even as we're explaining things to them that they're not used to thinking about. So you want to keep that the language very accessible and the level of detail very appropriate. Hands-on activities. If they're doing any kind of a building challenge or anything that requires the participants to get engaged, make sure they have support available for them so people aren't getting confused and giving up. They have, the ability to clarify instructions and maybe give people a hand, as you can see this gentleman's doing here with these with this group of youth here. Engaging all types of learners. Excellent tactic, right? To have some stuff that's visual that people can look at, some stuff that's verbal that they can listen to. Tactile elements, again, there's just something about, I think especially for kids, when they can get their hands on something, they start to play with it. I think different sectors of their brain just open up and they start to be able to absorb the concepts on a whole different level. So that's a really good practice for participant engagement as well. Depending on the group, whether it's very young kids or it's a group of adults or students or somewhere in between, you might even want to lead them in a small discussion group and ask them to share their thoughts. So all different ways to stimulate participant engagement. We're going to ask you to give us a roll out of a mark out of 5, on those 3 elements. So they were messages. You will know ahead of time what the messages were out of those 4 elements that they intended to deliver, and you can assess whether they were successful in delivering them or not. Second is theme. How well did they represent, make a world of difference? And then the third would be the participant engagement. How into it was the audience, and how much did the organizers make an attempt to engage with their audience? So they know all this. They know the criteria. And, I'm actually really excited for you because you're getting to see a lot of these students with a year of experience under their belt. Several of our student teams are returning from last year, and they will, I have no doubt, have really upped their game, which is really exciting. So a couple more little nitty-gritty things for you to consider. I am in the process right now of writing emails to each one of you to connect you with the head organizer of the student team to make sure that you are aware of each other's name, you know who you're looking for on the day, you know where you're supposed to be, what time. We do recommend that you exchange cell phone numbers so you can text each other or call in the event of any last-minute changes in plan or if something comes up. You'll be able to exchange logistical details. On the day, your role is basically attend. We ask that you attend long enough to get a good experience, a representative experience of what the event is like, especially if it's a longer event, maybe an all-day event. We don't expect you to stay the whole day. We know that you're busy. Obviously, if you can, that's amazing, but we don't expect that of you. We would ask that you confer with the students maybe to find out, okay, is there a certain piece of the event that's going to be most important that I really shouldn't miss? And if you can, schedule your time so that you can be there. So you get a good sense of, the best of what the students are doing. Engage with them. Again, it's not a test, it's not a trick. We want to award them as much credit as possible for what it is that they're doing, because the bigger game here is that we're inspiring the people who are going to, we hope, grow up and become fully engaged OACETT members and volunteer in their chapters and be very active and great ambassadors for the profession. So ask them questions, give them every opportunity to get credit for what they've done. We're going to ask that in the moment you don't give them a complete critique or a report of what it is that you're reporting back to us. Feel free to share some general comments, especially if they're brief and positive. We ask this just because we think that if you do have something negative to say, that might prove discouraging, and we don't want them to feel discouraged. We want to feel that their efforts are being recognized. Because they are doing their best. If they did mess something up, it's probably just due to their inexperience or maybe their nervousness. So we want to be as encouraging as possible. But stay away from giving them too much over-the-top praise, because they might walk away thinking that they've won the whole thing and then be disappointed to find out that they only came ranked 3rd or something, because you will have no idea what the other judges are saying and doing at their events. So hopefully that makes sense. Be observant, be friendly. Obviously, the students might be nervous, so you might notice that you need to put them at ease a little bit. And remember, you know, you have the opportunity to give them a little bit of a glimpse into what it's like to be a working professional in your engineering technology field, which is really cool. I mean, I know as a student, I loved the opportunity to talk to someone who was working in industry because I related to them much better than I did to my professors, who I just felt were very abstract in their thinking, and I was really much more of a practical person. So that's a great opportunity, and we hope that you enjoy yourself. Please fill out your judges report. You're welcome to do it by printing out what we will send you. You know, print it out, have it in a hard copy, actually write on it, and then scan it and send it back. That's totally fine. Or take some notes and fill in the report later. Either is good, whatever works for you. As long as you do send it back to us, we will then tabulate it and factor in those other things to come up with the final rankings. So we'll be doing that around the first or second week of April. And we don't have a lot of time because the students are going to be out of school very soon after March ends. This, FYI, is just what the roster looked like for last year. So we did have, unfortunately, we had a few student teams sign up and then back out, which happens. It's unfortunate, but we did have that a little bit in the first year. But we did have successful entries from Centennial College, the Seneca, that was the Fire Protection Student Association, Women in Technology, they ran a cool event. Sheridan was the very first one to enter. They were our sort of inaugural guinea pig in a way. The Sheraton Engineering Association did a really cool 3D printing demonstration. The Engineering Society at Conestoga, they did a robot extravaganza. We had the IEEE chapter from Conestoga chip in as well. They did something called an engineering fair. George Brown, unfortunately, did not enter last year, but we did have two great events from Loyalist College. They did one about innovations in waterworks and urban planning, and then Confederation College as well with their big engineering and technology symposium. So the top ranked team last year was Confederation College here. Last but not least, and here they are receiving their big check from President Stephen Morley, so that was definitely a proud moment for those students. And I believe they donated the prize money back to the association so they could continue to do outreach, which is a really nice gesture on their part. So this year, we've given the students the opportunity to look back at last year's rankings. We've basically handed them the blueprint on, look, this is how you should do a great event. These were the things we loved about last year's events. And you can see here, if you look on our website, this is an actual live screenshot. This website is still up right now. If you go to nemontario.ca college-challenge-2014, you'll be able to see sort of the intro here, and you've got some photos from last year, which is fantastic. And also just scrolling down a little further on the page, we have rankings for each of the student organized teams. So just if you're curious, you can see the order that these teams were ranked in last year. We'll try not to let it affect our judgment too much this year because it is a new year and we may have a new champion. But Conestoga, or Confederation, sorry, did come out on top last year, and ranked second was the Sheridan College Engineering Association with their Get Innovative. So on this page, you'll find a couple of things. First of all, the comments that went back to the students from the judges, and this is why it's so worth it. If you can take the time to fill in some comments, you know, it's really appreciated. We don't even mind if you write us a novel, a whole ton, because that's great feedback for the students to get. Again, they put a lot of work into the events, you know, weeks and maybe months of planning. So it's great when we can give them some feedback. Something else we did when we sort of stepped back and looked at what everybody had done, we picked out the things that each team was best in. And this actually was not hard to do because we found that the events were quite different in their strengths. So we were able to say, you know, this one, Confederation, really shone in terms of the OACETT student collaboration, the attendance they were able to pull off, the multimodal engagements. They had lots of different things going on, which was really cool, and we thought that was something we wanted to encourage in others. other student organizers as well. And then finally, just to spell it out for them nice and clear, there's another category here called what other teams can learn from this team. So we put all three sections. We've done that for all of the ranked teams. That information again is up on the website still. So if you want to have a look at it, just FYI, that is something we've recommended all of the students do. Go through and collect the best practices. And I can tell you there are a few teams, I won't say which ones right now, that are really taking this seriously. I can tell that they're doing the things that are in the what others can learn category. So it's just fantastic to see. There's lots of learning, lots of continuous improvement going on. So here is a list of the teams that are entered for the College Challenge. It's 9 teams altogether, although because some of them are running multiple events, we've got, I believe it's 19 events altogether. So that's, again, an unfinalized total. I was checking in with Hargadeep at Sheridan just today to find out if he is actually pulling off these 9 events that he planned to do. He was going to do an event every Saturday at the library, followed by his showcase right at the end on the 31st of March. So in any case, very ambitious organizer. We really hope that he is able to pull off, what he said he would, or even a piece of it. Again, this is learning as we work with students. They're getting a sense for what is feasible and what they can handle, and getting better at following through on the plans that they send. So again, we have Centennial College. They're returning from last year. The Conestoga College IEEE chapter, they're returning as well. The Conestoga College Engineering Society, they are returning. They're doing something a little different this year. They ran an event on their own campus last year. This year, they're actually going to be in high school classrooms, and they've confirmed 3 high school classrooms so far. So they're really out there getting in front of lots of students, which is excellent to see. George Brown, they're running a robotic competition. And the neat thing about what they're doing is that they didn't open it just to engineering technology students. They opened it to everybody as a way to say, hey, there is a place for you in engineering. Why don't you try this out to make it accessible to other students? So we thought that was pretty creative, and it'd be interesting to see how they do. The Fire Protection Student Association is hosting their industry dinner. They do a lot of engaging with professionals and figuring out what their what the latest developments are and how the innovations are coming along in the field. Sheridan, I already mentioned, that's the very ambitious monster agenda. All of these creative hub public workshops on things like Arduino programming and 3D printing. Sheridan College is then running a second event this year about recycling and reusing oil, so neat sustainability demonstration along the lines of making the world safer and cleaner and better, so that's nice. And then right at the end of the month, we've got this clump of a couple more events. Confederation College is holding a similar technology conference and career fair. And then finally, Loyalist College. I don't have a lot of information about exactly what their event is about, but it's got a compelling title, Under Without Being Under. So Bruce, you're gonna be our eyes and ears on the ground. Go investigate what they're up to and what their plans are as far as the messages go. So just one last invitation I want to issue before I close up the webinar and open it up for questions from you is to invite you to stay in touch with us, with me. Again, we're very grateful for your help with this still pretty new program. We're very happy with the results we've produced thus far. It's a lot to organize. It's a lot of hand-holding, with the students, some of whom are not very experienced. Although, as I said, we see a real difference in the amount of initiative and organization and enthusiasm that the students are taking in this year versus last year. That the experience they got last year, they're really building on it. So it's very encouraging to see. And if you have any questions at all or comments or suggestions about how we could better support you as judges or better run the challenge, we're definitely open to that. So one last thing, as I said, was just to invite you to engage with us on social media, #NEM2015, as I mentioned. It's just completely humming right now. There are tweets and posts and things, pictures coming in from all over the place as people complete their events. They're reporting out, and it's just really exciting to see what we're all a part of. So you can look at #engineering, #EngTech, and something new that we're trying this year is inviting people to take pictures of themselves while doing their work. and put that up, call it Engineering Selfie. So sort of explain how your work is contributing to society, the impact that you're having in the world, and then, you know, a photo of your own face next to your work, you know, just makes it a little more human, a little more kind of a fun thing that we can do for National Engineering Month. So look for us on Twitter, look for us on Facebook, tell your kids or your parents or your cousins or your in-laws or your coworkers as well that this is a fun and an enjoyable opportunity for us to connect online over the things that matter most to us.